Heading down the home stretch on this Sunday afternoon. 5:48 is where we stand. We're going to be here till the top of the hour, 6 p.m. sharp. And Ann Grady is our special guest. Just prior to the break, we were talking about a number of things surrounding her latest book, Strong Enough, Choosing Courage, Resilience, and Triumph. We also said a little something about that TED Talk, which I know you're really into. Bring us up to date for those that might not know what that's all about and how you got involved in that and what you do and where we might check it out.
So TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design, and basically started in the 80s. It's a very short, 18-minute maximum speech, and they have now had them all over the world on every possible topic you can imagine. So you can go to YouTube, you can go to TED.com and see incredible presentations that just can transform the way you think about things, really. And it can be anything from, creativity and ways to improve schools. It can be how to massage a dog. I mean, there's every topic you can possibly imagine. And it was always one of my bucket list items. I, for a very long time, have always wanted to do a TED Talk. And so when the opportunity came the first time, it was a local deal here in Austin. I spoke at St. Edward's University and did my first TEDx presentation there. And TEDx just is basically an independently organized event. And then was invited in October of 2016 to speak at the St. Louis Women's TEDx conference, and that was at the Peabody Opera House in St. Louis with about 2,000 people. It was just an absolutely incredible defining moment in my life and career.
Very, very, very cool.
I just have to know, you live in Austin. Did you go to UT?
I did not go to UT.
Sorry to hear
I
that.
moved to Austin in '99. My master's is, the school is now called Texas State. It was Southwest Texas when I was there in San Marcos. And so when I was finishing my thesis, I moved here to Austin and just haven't left. I love it.
It's a great town. I miss it.
It is. It's growing like crazy. It's getting out of hand.
Completely different than when I was there in the mid-'90s.
Yeah, 100% different.
We've talked about Strong Enough, Choosing Courage, Resilience, and Triumph, your latest book, but talk about the other book, if you might, 52 Strategies for Life, Love, and Work, and how the three of those all maybe come together, mold together. And do you want to share a couple of the 52 strategies and what we might find in that book?
Sure. Well, like I said, when I was going through the most difficult times with Evan, I started keeping a collection of strategies that could really keep me sane. Part of it was how to communicate well in relationships, and part of it was how to set goals and define a vision for myself and really focus on where I wanted to go and how I was going to get there. And I found people would say when I was doing training or development that they wanted their employees to leave work at work and home at home. And I don't think that's possible, and I don't think that's the goal. And so I feel like they all intertwine. And love doesn't necessarily, in the book title, doesn't necessarily mean romantic love. It's just any type of relationship. So, for example, one of the strategies that I talk about is identifying and leveraging your strengths. We spend our whole life focused on fixing our weaknesses, and we end up pretty miserable and mediocre as a result. And so it's rather than what am I not good at and what do I need to do better, it's what do I do well that comes easily to me, that I love and enjoy, and how do I do more of that, which is really how I got into my speaking career to begin with. I was the president of my debate team in high school. I just love this stuff. So it was, for me, a natural extension of who I was and what I wanted. But I think it can apply in any career, in any field. The other thing is that it can apply in relationships. So, when we meet somebody and we think they can be the one, everything they do is amazing. The way they walk is cute. The way they talk is cute. The way they tell stories warms your heart. And you focus on their strengths. But when you realize they're not the one, and you start looking for the reasons why, watching them eat makes you nauseous, and they talk too slow, and they walk too fast, and they're annoying, and we focus on their weaknesses. So really taking time to identify and leverage your own strengths, and then finding the strengths in your kids, and your spouse, and your partner, and your friendships, and really focusing on those.
Did you have a question, Trey? Oh, I thought you did. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me ask you this then. As we're heading down the home stretch, as we like to say around these parts, I just wondered the message that you'd like to leave with all of us, with me, with Trey, with Steve, just about how we approach our life, and with your resilience and with your courage, so that we all can be triumphant in our day-to-day lives, wherever it might be, at home, in school, in church, in the community, at our work, and just with family and friends. Anything that you'd like to, just some closing thoughts you would share with us all.
Well, one, you already are strong enough. The fact that you've made it through everything life has presented to you this far, you have proven that you are resilient by nature. You have proven that you are courageous because you are continuing to work at it and continuing to make small changes to get you the life you want. The other is that courage is not about not being afraid. It's not the absence of fear. Courage means that you are afraid and it is uncomfortable, and you learn how to embrace that discomfort and that fear and use it as a catalyst rather than something that holds you back. So it's people, you asked me at the beginning of the show, how am I so brave? I'm no braver than anyone else. I'm no more courageous than anyone else. I just didn't have a choice. And it's about making a daily decision, and some days are easier than others, absolutely. When you fall down, it's giving yourself permission to feel how you're feeling without apologizing for it. And it's forging ahead, giving yourself the right messages, taking care of yourself physically and mentally. A massage therapist is the one who caught my tumor and saved my life. So the book shares all of these strategies, and I would say the biggest one is just know that you already are strong enough.
Great advice. And a final question. Bucket list for you. You've shared all kinds of information with us, and we've heard about your trying adversity, I guess, but all the things that you've had to endure. My gosh, it's like for a whole family of 15, for Pete's sake. Bucket list. What are 2 or 3 things out there that before the end and all is said and done, you'd like to make sure you're a part of?
Well, there's the selfish ones and then the philanthropic.
Hey, right? We're easy. You put them all on the table.
So from a philanthropy perspective, 1 out of 5 children, 1 out of 4 adults suffers with mental illness. And there's this incredible stigma attached to it. People would not tell you that, people wouldn't avoid telling you they had diabetes, but you tell someone you have schizophrenia and it's like all bets are off. Yet there's no consistent treatment, especially in Texas. We have one of the worst mental health care systems in the world. In fact, the saying is, thank God for Mississippi, because Texas is the second worst. And so, one, it would be advocating for health parity, so that when you are struggling with mental illness, you don't have to overcome 20 obstacles that aren't there if you're struggling with diabetes, and to really give it a voice. The other bucket list item is, at some point, my husband and I just want to get an RV and travel and enjoy the country and really see things and drive to speaking engagements, have our 2, I call my therapy dogs, with me. Our kids occasionally are allowed to come, but that they'll be, sufficient on their own, and we'll be able to just really enjoy the back half.
Well, I tell you what, Ann, we can't thank you enough for stopping by. Ann Grady is her name. She's the author of Strong Enough, Choosing a Courage, Resilience, and Triumph, and her earlier book, 52 Strategies, that we just referred to for life, love, and work. Can't thank you enough. Continued success. You've had a tough life in a lot of ways, but a most rewarding one in others, and the time you spent with us is most appreciated.
Well, guys, thanks so much for having me. Love your show and appreciate it.
Thank you much. Ann Grady is her name.
Thanks, Ann. All
right, and as we always remind all of our viewers, Ann, and all our listeners, live your life as a go-getter, share your life as a go-giver. For Steve and Trey and an absent Calvin, I'm Scott Murray. Be safe. Good night, Texas.